Welcome to the Temple of Karting, South Garda Karting Circuit, in Lonato, Italy. This is the headquarters of the sport, and where thousands of karting fans from around the world will flock for the FIA Karting World Championship for the KZ Gearbox category. With the KZ2 International Super Cup and the FIA Karting Academy Trophy also set to be decided this weekend, it promises to be an exciting and thrilling end to the Gearbox season. The circuit has an incredible history and is also just a stone's throw away from the factory of one of its most illustrious teams, CRG Spa. The CRG brand is famous for its passion, innovation and attention to detail, with countless championship titles and accolades to celebrate. For the Tonini family, karting runs through their DNA, and their unique methods have seen many world champions walk through their gates, including Mike Wilson, Danilo Rossi, Vitantonio Liuzzi, Pedro Hiltbrand, Paolo Di Conto and F1 star Max Verstappen. Can they win again this year?
17 years old, you could already start challenging them. The trouble is that now we want a 15 or 16 years old to be mature, to compete with older drivers, which is not going to happen, or it's very, very difficult. And more than anything else, you have to understand that it's not always, such a young drivers, they are not always at the top, just because the maturity, not experience, maturity, like, 15, 16, they're very, very young. So everything has basically come much earlier, much younger, and so we want them to mature so quickly, but not everyone do mature at the same time, at the same age.
Who better to ride on board with around Lonato than living legend Marco Ardigo? Hard on the power, up through the gears, hanging left, then keep a wide line through the two right apexes as it is the fastest way round. Keep to the middle of the right-hander, then back up the gears and into one of the first tough corners on the circuit, the right hairpin that rises mid-apex. Accelerate again, then coast through the first left to gently coax the kart to a slower pace for the second, but let the momentum carry you close to the apex, then flat to the floor once more. Line the kart up nicely through the sweepers, then a difficult chicane which tightens on entry at the left, forces a blip of the throttle through the right. 3 more hairpins complete the lap. First the right, draw the car into the right to place the kart into the left apex, then repeat once more for the final bend. Hit the throttle at the right moment and you'll finish with a flourish. Under 46 seconds is ideal in KZ. With the title fight wide open, Christian Ho started from pole position, unbeaten through the heats. And as the race began, he surged into the lead, with points leader Robert De Haan grabbing second place. But with the Dutchman unable to score due to his exclusion at Sarno, it would be Kaya Nellis who was now in the best position. Canada's Justin Arsenault pulled off the first major overtake on Zachary David of the Philippines, and then Filip Jenic took a similar stance on De Haan, with Max Dodds waiting in the wings. The British star would make the move just a lap later, with Nellis nearly moving ahead as well. But De Haan wasn't prepared to back down from the fight, and a few corners later retaliated, but Dodds wasn't going to concede. The resistance left De Haan stunned, and as a consequence, Kaya Nellis made a move that would put him into a championship-winning position. Sadly for Colombia's Nicolas Baptiste, he would go no further. Then Dodds charged up the inside of Jenic, and that took him to second place, with Nellis joining him on the provisional podium. Jenic wasn't done yet, and with Christian Ho so far ahead, the 3 men dueling for second realised that this was the best they could get from such a tough race. When Jenic made his move and De Haan couldn't quite join him, that proved plenty of motivation for Nellis to push harder. A few corners later, and he made his move for position, catching out De Haan as Jenic slid into him and Arsenault had nowhere left to turn. Jenic picked up damage in the incident and would slowly drop down the order. But after his heroic performance all weekend, Justin Arsenault was left to wonder what might have been. Sadly, he wasn't the only one to end his season on the sidelines, as talented Polish ace Bart Pikatowski would retire just 2 laps later. Nellis eventually caught back up to Dodds and picked his moment wisely to move up into second place. He then set off after the Singaporean up front, hoping to take his first win of the season. But time was against them both, as Christian Ho's gap was too large, and he went on to take his first win in a final in 2019. The consistency from the Lithuanian, however, was enough to make KZ2 the 10th FIA Karting Academy Trophy winner.
I think this weekend was our weekend. I mean, at the start of the practice, we already were quite fast, so I thought to myself, okay, let's just try winning this race and yeah, fight for the championship, but of course, did not go too well, yeah.
The feeling is very good, but it's strange. I'm a little sorry because I didn't win, and I never expected to win the championship. I didn't really try to, but I'm very happy.
I think it was a really good result for me. We've been struggling in the other rounds of the championship, so I think this is really good. I think it hasn't quite sunk in yet because I think this is my first podium in Europe, so it'll definitely be a good one to take in. But yeah, I think it was a good race overall. Once KZ overtook me, I just couldn't quite get back to him, so still happy with the result though.
European vice-champion Emilion Denner came into the final hot favourite, having won all 6 of his heats, and when he blasted into the lead ahead of Emil Scaras, everyone assumed it would be an easy win from there. David Vidales was fighting to get back into contention after a poor start, while Giuseppe Palomba wasted no time in making waves as he passed Michele Fontana. However, the race would be short-lived for Matthew Payne after a collision saw him on the sidelines, and he wasn't the only man in trouble as the front fairing of David Trevelov's lay at the side of the road. So as the marshals started the clean-up job, Senna van Waalstein started to make his way up the field as he passed Alexander Dahlberg, with Thomas Landijs trying to repeat the manoeuvre, only to find the outside line too hard to use. Back in the pit lane, Trevelovs ended his race in bitter disappointment. Scaras made his pass for the lead on lap 4, and all hell broke loose as Marco Torman and Giacomo Pellini were about to become involved in the monumental battle. Denner went straight back up the inside, with Torman and Pellini both edging past Scaras, with Vidales joining the party and moving into 4th, behind Denner, Torman and Pellini. Paolo Ippolito and Simone Cunati had their work cut out defending against the resurgent Senna van Waalstein, as the CRG drivers struggled to keep momentum on CRG's home circuit. If he was going to have any chance of winning, Vidales needed to fight back, and his first attempt to pass Pellini displayed his frustration. Elsewhere, Jean Nomblo and Francesco Iacovacci were enjoying an exciting duel in the midfield. Then Scaras, having overtaken Vidales, then came from a mile back to throw his kart inside Pellini, and in doing so brought his Spanish rival back in the game. And a few corners later, Vidales made the move, and this time he made it stick, despite some ferocious resistance. Remember that midfield battle? Now Thomas Landijs was contesting his honour against Ippolito and Fontana, and as if that wasn't bad enough for the latter driver, Paavo Tonteri forced his way through at the chicane just 3 corners later. Torman then found he couldn't hang on to second any longer, as the European champion stormed through at the first hairpin and Vidales surged past as well. Meanwhile, Van Waalstein was using his favourite passing move to good effect, this time on Cunati. But nobody could compete with the dominant Emilion Denner as he clinched the KZ2 International Super Cup in heroic fashion. But had there been a couple more laps, David Vidales may have changed that result, as he had made up the gap dramatically, having passed Scaras for second. So as Denner celebrated the perfect weekend, Vidales was gracious in defeat, but his dejection was clear for all to see. Maybe 2020 will be his year at last. But for Denner, it's jubilation as he becomes the first Frenchman in 4 years to win the ultimate KZ2 prize.
Yeah, it has been a perfect weekend. Pole and the 6 wins in the heats and winning the final. I can't thank my team enough and my engine tuner for this result, and I'm really happy about it.
I'm happy with the job we have done all the weekend. With the team, they have done an amazing job doing all the since Wednesday. They have worked a lot. The heats were really good, but you know, when you have the pace to win the race and you arrive too close, you can't be happy.
Had a good start, good first laps. I overtook Emilian, and then he took me back and quite hard, so I lost to fifth. After I managed to get my way up to second, and after Vidales come and take me, so I go down to third.
To be honest, my feeling is unbelievable because, as I say, we are a private team, and it will be very difficult. I'm really tired because the pressure was super high. I want to thank Emilien Denner because for me, Emilien is an unbelievable driver. Honestly, one of the best I have seen in my team. He make a fantastic race, pole position, win all the heats, 5-time best time in the race, win the final. For me, Emilien deserves this race, this title, and of course, I want to thank also Sodicart, my partner, because the material was fantastic. My team make a super job. I'm really happy. I don't think I realize because for me this season is really unbelievable. A lot of win, lot of podium, and this race for me is. It's fantastic for me.
After 28 years of karting, I mean, my life was for a lot of years karting. And I think now, I don't know, something inside of me changed, and I take the decision not now, but some months ago, a few months ago, and I think it's the right moment to change my life in something new. It's retiring when I still in the top. This is really important for me because I have, I think, a good career, and I don't want to, I don't know, go down or stay for some years more, and I not fight with the first 3 positions. So this is for me is not really good thinking. I think is a good moment to look back what I do in these 28 years. I don't know, I just say thank you very much to all the people that support me in this year, in many parts of the world. I don't know, I don't have a lot of words about this one, but I just say thank you to all the people that support me in this year. Yeah, at the moment this race is very the same to the other world champions. So before this finish line, everything is still the same. So I fight with all drivers. here to try to win the race. This is sure.
A lot of people around me, they can hear really well, and I don't. So it's really difficult to explain to the guys what I hear instead of feeling. So if, for example, the guys, they say to me that, yeah, but it's impossible, and I say, yeah, it is possible because I feel it different. So when I'm driving, I feel everything, so I can't hear. So just feel by vibration, feeling, and yeah, I try to adapt that in that way. And it's working at so far, and that's the only difference that I have between the others. It's amazing, I already got a lot of messages, a lot of reply from people, from supporters all around the world who wish me good luck for the race. And I'm also really, really proud and happy that my biggest fan is here, and that's my mom and my sister. And that gives me a really big boost for the race, for the final race. So hopefully we can do something of good, and I do my best and more I can do. And hopefully we will have the luck on our side on Sunday.
The drama began even before the race, as Alessandro Orlando's kart failed to take the starting line, crushing the Italian's hopes of becoming world champion. After narrowly missing the European crown, this was just too much to take, and Orlando would walk away, heartbroken. So with one Birolart driver gone, it was up to pole sitter Marin Kramers to uphold the honour of the Red Army, and as he made the perfect start ahead of Adrien Renaudin and fellow teammate Riccardo Longhi, the battle commenced in earnest. Matteo Vigano was leading the charge for Tony Kart, and as he sailed up the inside of Longhi, so too did Stan Pex. Baz Lammers was truly motivated and overtook the retiring legend Marco Ardigo with true strength. Stan Pex was then caught half asleep by Riccardo Longhi, who made a brilliant overtake to get back into position, with the loss of momentum for Pex allowing Simo Puhaka past as well. Pex was now clearly struggling for grip, a fact that his countryman Lammers completely took advantage of and swept past with perfect authority, and Ardigo made up a place on the spot, bowing out of the sport at the top of his game. Many big names were in the midfield as Fabian Federer and Anthony Abbas made their way past Mirko Tozzolini and ahead of European champion Jorik Pex. Elsewhere, officials were removing debris from the side of the road, and as an airbox went flying out of sight, it signalled the end of a tough afternoon for Troy Loskow, as Renaudin chose that corner to go for the overtake on Kramers. Having grabbed the lead, he tried to pull away, but Kramers was having none of it and retook the lead on lap 9. Then the fiercest battle of the race began, as Renaudin went straight back up the inside to grab the lead, and Vigano nearly passed them both. So for now, the Sodi kart was leading, with Vigano desperately keeping Longhi at bay. Just one lap later, and Longhi seized his chance at the first hairpin, which completely surprised Vigano, and his teammate Puhaka swept by, and Baz Lammers slotted into position behind the young Italian. But Lammers wouldn't wait long to pass Vigano, and made the very tough move look fairly easy. Then came the move of the race, and the one that ultimately decided the world title. Kramers made his bid in the chicane, and having passed the Frenchman, moved to cover his line just in time to avert an overtake. Try as he might, Fabian Federer would eventually pull out of the race. But as one man faltered, another triumphed, as Marin Kramers became world champion and gave Birolart their first world title for 19 years. A historic and euphoric moment.
It's amazing, finally. Last year I came close, I was up front all weekend, but unfortunately I had a crash in the final. So this was some sweet revenge. It was very tough. I started off poor, but Adrien got past me at some point after 4 or 5 laps, I think. I stayed behind him for a bit, and when I saw an opportunity, I went for it, passed him and gapped him a little bit. From then on, I was just making no mistakes, which was easier said than done. I made a few, but luckily for me, he couldn't catch me and came across the line first.
It's a beautiful result, but I feel sorry to have fallen short. I really got so angry at the start of the race because I had some contact with other drivers, and that cost me a lot of time. Fortunately, once I passed them, I was able to catch up to Kramers. I've had an amazing race and also a very difficult one because in the beginning of the week we had to deal with a lot of issues. It got a bit chaotic in the beginning and also during the race between the drivers. The leaders pulled away, which was tough because the gap was so big by that point. We just couldn't close it down. Post-race, Renaudin would be handed a front-fairing penalty, promoting Longhi to second to make it a Birolart 1-2 finish, and Baz Lammers to a heroic third place.
The first thing I say after to win the race, I say the race win the team because we are a very good team. We are very close every day. We work every day together a lot. And the first thing I say after the race, I say the team win. I'm very happy about that. Yes, I won't keep that, but we know it's so difficult. We keep these 2 hours to make to be happy, but we know tomorrow from 8 o'clock tomorrow we start to work again, very hard, and this is the system of the karting, the motorsport we know.
In Academy, Christian Ho and Kaio Sixnelis both ran the race of their lives ahead of Max Dodds, with the Lithuanian claiming the 10th Academy trophy. Emilion Denner dominates in a manner we haven't seen for years in the FIA karting paddock as he lifts the international KZ2 Super Cup and becomes the hero of France. It's not just a magic moment for him, but also for the CPB Sport team, the satellite outfit for the Sodikart chassis, overcoming the might of the factory squads to claim the biggest accolade in the second tier of gearbox racing. It's one of the most emotional podiums of the season, and surely the start of an epic road to the top of the sport for Emilion Denner. In KZ, Marin Kramers has become one of the youngest ever Gearbox World Champions and brought Birol back to the top of the podium for the first time since Gianluca Beggio did so in 2000. To finish the year with a historic 1-2 finish is as perfect as Ronnie Sala and Nicholas Todd could have asked for as the first world title for the Birol and ART Grand Prix Union. For Baz Lammers, it's a wonderful end to another strong season too, and hopefully his star will continue to ascend next year. We've seen the heroes of the sport, past, present and future, quest for glory in the ultimate karting arena. We wave goodbye to the king of karting, Marco Ardigo, and are set to begin a new era. But as one chapter ends, another begins. Just like in Formula 1, karting never really stops, and our teams and drivers are already thinking about 2020. So that's where we'll meet again, and we can't wait for another fascinating season of FIA karting.